Peace and shalom, family. Peace and shalom. This is your brother Divine Prospect, Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. We in the building. This is not a Freestyle Friday, as you know, or even a typical live stream. This live stream is about, excuse me, the Kingdom Harbinger Ministries Houston chapter launch that will be going down October 26th at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be out there in Houston, touching down, bringing our cultural paradigms, transporting to practical solutions to alleviate societal ills in that community where the lost sheep is at. All right. So we will be out there again, October 26th. It's a Shabbat, a Saturday. We will start at about 6 p.m. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then we're working on it. We're going to have a lecture that I'm going to do the following day, which is that Sunday. And we have a location and everything for that. We're trying to finalize a few things here and there. But we will be giving a lecture. And again, I want to give an opportunity for all of our Houston family to propose or throw out some suggestions for the type of lecture or the kind of lecture or subject matter would you like me to lecture on. If not, I got a couple for default purposes and I can just bring one out. But I want to give you an opportunity to have me lecture about whatever you want me to lecture about. All right, so this is for our Houston family. Also, very important, those of you who are in Houston that are interested in the chapter launch next Shabbat or next Shabbat, click the link in the description below to join our KHM Houston chapter group. When you click that link, you want to sign up for the group. We're trying to collect, data and names for all the people involved in our Houston area, so we can send you out communications and so forth. So even if you're not able to make it to the Houston chapter launch, if you are in Houston, click that link so you can join our Houston group and we can keep you up to date with all the latest communications and correspondence as it pertains to the big city of Houston. Also, we have a special guest music artist that will be performing at our chapter launch. So I want to make sure I put that out there as well. I'm not going to tell you who it is. It's going to be a surprise. But yeah, we're going to do what we got to do. Now, from now until then, we're just ramping things up, getting prepared and, trying to figure out, how we're going to arrange things. We do catering because there's going to be free food like we do at every chapter launch. The mission is free like we do at every chapter launch. And not only that, if we have the time, we're going to go over some naturopathic health items and some debt repair, credit repair, financial planning items as well, like we did in our last two launches. So you get free game day as well, right? On how to go about creating a regimen for your health and to also go about repairing your debt, right? Boosting your credit and all that other good stuff, right? These are freebies we're just throwing out there, right? And pretty much what we're doing, like we've done in every other chapter launch, is making a proposal to you. We're proposing to you what we look to do in your particular city, and if you would like to join in with us, right? Even if you don't want to join in us, come through for the fellowship, right? Come through for the free food, come through for the free game, right? But we're looking forward to meeting everybody in Houston. And again, before we bring anybody on to KHM officially, we like to physically meet them face to face, kind of fill them out, let them fill us out, pause. And from there, we can make a determination in regards to whether they're a good fit for our ministry and whether we're a good fit for what they're looking to do, right? Because we're not here to lock you down for eternity or make you choose KHM over everything else. That's not the purpose of KHM, right? The purpose of KHM is to take all that stuff that we learn on our Shabbats and do research and study and all of that and transform that into a viable solution that is practical and that when you apply it in your immediate community can resolve the society ills in your community and bring those who are positively affected by that into the fold. Because the goal is to also bring in the lost sheep, to learn the kingdom etiquette, bring in the lost sheep, provide services, programs, products, and goods that will help our community remove all of these secular blocks that prevent them from having a clear communication with Yah. We got to get our people kingdom ready, right? And that's what we're here to do, right? And KHM, we partner with other quote unquote Black organizations, activist organizations, not-for-profit organizations in the community. There's several of them out there in Houston that we want to get in contact with, that we want to work with because there's strength in numbers, right? And the higher quality of what we deliver will pretty much assure us that those who are exposed to the good gifts that Yah has given us and that we are putting out in the community will bring those individuals in to his fold, right? And also, I know there's a lot of people in Houston that probably don't have nowhere to congregate at, don't really know that many people out there. So one good thing about the chapter launches is, oh, whoa, I didn't even have the mic over here. I'm over here talking. Nobody said anything. I don't know. Did y'all hear me? Hit one if you heard me. Hit two if you didn't hear me. I said all of that. Didn't even have the mic in front of me. I didn't even do my mic check 1 2 1 2. But it's all good. I'll just go back over some of what I was saying. But yeah, the mic is here. Hopefully, you can hear clearly now. But with that being said, I'll go ahead and say it over again, real briefly. So the point is that the chapter launch is there because we're going to bring the cultural paradigm that we have as Israelites and transform it into a practical solution that can alleviate the societal ills in the community and bringing the lost sheep into the fold in the house of Israel. We also work with other Black activists, Black non-for-profit organizations that also are doing goodwill within the community. We want to partner with them as well, bring our resources, our skill set, and into the equation so we can work better because there's strength in numbers and we can help comb through the community and bring everything the community needs. All right. So just sound like an echo. Do y'all hear an echo? I don't know if you can hear me now. Let me know. All right. So what I was saying is that with the big city of Houston, there's a lot of issues in the community that we know our cultural paradigm from our identity as Israelites and from scripture can resolve. We are there to do what we have in scripture to do while we're in captivity, which is to be active, not passive, waiting for the sky to crack and somebody to come and save us, but for us using the opportunity and timing to go and resolve those issues in the community to bring them into the fold. The type of quote unquote evangelism that we do is not the active type that you see in these Christian churches when they send their congregates and their laymen out to the street to go and win souls and so forth. No, we want to show people the proof is in the pudding. The same way when Yeshua went out and the apostles went out and they did signs, miracles, and wonders. And when they had a need in Acts chapter 4, they came together with the community. They brought all the items that the community needed and they distributed them evenly. So every man had everything in common. That's what we want to do. We want to boost our community up so everybody has everything in common so that the power of Yah can move throughout the community. Right? We want to do something that has not been seen before because we have so many churches in Houston and we still have the same problems in these areas, right? So the type of work that we're going to bring to that city has not been seen before, like we've brought to other cities. And now going into 2025, we're going to get back 1,000% active with our chapters because we're looking to have by the end of next year 20 plus chapters internationally. So we're not just going to be here, stuck here in the US. We're going to Canada. We're going to the UK. We're going to West Africa, South Africa. We're going to the Caribbeans. We're going to wherever the people of Yah is at that need a community. And I was saying also is that what we're doing with our KHM chapter launch is providing a proposal to you about who we are, what we're here to do, and why we need your help. Right? We're looking for those who's here to put their hand to the plow, not look back, but look forward and get the job done. Those who want to see a difference in their community. And even if you don't want to join KHM, there's no pressure on the spot to do it. You can take as long as you want to make that decision, but at least come out for the free food, the free fellowship that's going to be there, the free game we're going to drop because we're going to share some information about credit repair, debt elimination, financial planning. We're going to teach you about what a health regimen is and how you can kind of orchestrate that into your life and your daily routine to kind of help with issues that you may have. We're going to also propose to you some new KHM services that we're looking to put in that area of Houston, right? One of the main things we want to launch there is we want to have two things. We want to have a midwifery doula center, and then we also want to have our homeschooling center. The homeschooling center is pretty much taking the homeschooling curriculum and flexibility that you use with homeschooling and put it into an education center out there in that city. So these are two things, major things we want to work on and provide these services for the benefit of Houston and greater Houston. All right. So yeah, this is what we're here to do. So if you're in Houston, you have no excuse not to come out. Even if you don't want to join KHM, come out, get the free fellowship, the free food, the free game. And again, this is another opportunity for those in Houston and the greater Houston area to connect with people in that region. A lot of people say, Divine, we like KHM. We like the quality of people that's in KHM, but we don't have nothing like that around here. Here is the solution to that. All right. So Houston, you have a problem. You have problems, plural. But KHM is here to bring the solution. by way of the Most High Yah. All praises to the Most High Yah. If you are not in Houston, but you have family, friends, associates in Houston, send them through. It's a free event with free food. You know how people love free. But you can also patronize the ministry as well, because we'll be presenting our products, our services, our goods, our programs. So please patronize us when you're out there. We're going to have a sign-up sheet so we can kind of capture everybody that comes through, so that you can get our occasional newsletters and correspondence as we communicate things that's going on in the Houston area that you may want to get involved in, and kind of look us over a little further, right? And if you're interested in the educational aspect of KHM by way of the Divine Prospect brand, we'll be having our lecture that following day, which is Sunday. I guess it's the 27th. We'll be having a short lecture, very good, impactful stuff that I want the people of Houston to tell me what y'all want me to lecture about. And we'll go ahead and put that forth for y'all. Right now, if you are in another city that we have not been in, please email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, so that way we can kind of scout out, see, if we have enough people in that region to justify a chapter launch. But just let us know, email us those cities. You can leave them in the comments below as well. Let us know where you at. Let us know what you need us to do, and we're here to serve, right? So with that being said, let me give a couple of shout outs. I see several people in the chat. Shout out to Jaslyn Berry, Mr. Yeshuan 144, Janelle, Get Wise, Beloved Ty, Shalom, Being Wise, Damon Williamson, Shalom, Sister Santua, Shalom, my brother Desmond, Shalom, Nazarene Essene TV, Shalom, Bayith Ma Azan Network, Shalom, Lamb Heart, Shalom, Ben Yehuda, Shalom. Let's see. Who else we got? H. Wayne, Shalom, Feed the Spirit, Shalom, KJ Enterprises, Shalom, Yvette Rivera, Shalom. Let's see, who else we got? Simply Saved, Shalom. Let's see, Elephant Man Podcast Network, Shalom. Yaramya Banya Sharala, Shalom. Let's see. All right, Panther Denor. Okay, cool. So also, the chapter launch will be recorded. So I'm not even recorded. It'll be live stream. So you'll be able to watch it live, and it'll be available on the KHM YouTube channel. But the lecture will be recorded, and it's going to be viewing only on Patreon, right? I'm going to do a preview video about 5 to 7 minutes on the YouTube. So if you want to patronize the ministry further, you can sign up for our Patreon. You can patronize us now, because everything that we get goes towards these type of things, right? So when you sign up, pay your membership dues as being a membership of KHM, or support the Patreon, it brings in the resources, financial resources that we need to do the things that we would like to do and the things that you need in your community, right? Shout out to Hebrew Ethics in the building. Shalom, I see you. All right, so if you want to patronize the ministry, www.patreon.com/DivineProspect. We have a wealth of resources on there, and that video from the lecture will be fully on there soon as we record it. What's that going to be? Sunday. I'm going to try to edit it Sunday evening and have it up ready for that Monday. All right, so sign up for the Patreon so that you can get access to that. And again, if you're just now coming in and those watching on replay, click the link in the description below. If you're in the Houston area or know somebody in the Houston area, please click the link, join our Houston chapter group. So any correspondence, communication as pertains to this big city of Houston, H-Town, we can be able to communicate to y'all. All right, so again, Houston, y'all have a problem. And by way of the Most High, KHM is bringing the solution. All praises to the Most High Yah. All praises. All praises. So I just wanted to come on here and give that public service announcement, that PSA, to let y'all know that we will officially be in the building. The flyer is up on all social media platforms. So look in the description below. Follow us on social media. Like the post so that way the algorithm can take it and present it before people who are unaware of this. I'm going to keep posting between now and Friday about the chapter launch. So you'll see on social media several posts with the flyer on it. And then I'm going to do a promo video as well. So please, if you see that, like it, share it, etc., so that we can get it to as many hands as possible. We want Houston to be the biggest chapter launch we've done to date. And we had some really good chapter launches. Remember, the majority of our chapter launches was in the thick of COVID. In the thick of COVID. The first one we had was in February 2020, right before the whole country got shut down in March 2020. And then after March, we had 3 other chapter launches in the thick of COVID. All praise to the Most High, man. But what happened was, as soon as COVID started to end in 2022, end of 2022, people went back to their regularly scheduled program. So our numbers dipped, the resources we had dipped, everything started dipping because now people were not confined to their homes. They actually now out and about, right? So it's a little bit more difficult, to bring in good human resources for the ministry. But Houston is going to be our re-injection back into doing this chapter launch thing. So I pray to Yah everything goes well, which it normally does, and that's going to set it off for the future ones that we would do. Maybe by the end of December, I don't know. I was thinking about doing a Miami launch. I know y'all gonna definitely need it because the services we provide helps with practical things that typically you're gonna need after you're destroyed by a hurricane, which is terrible. And some people still don't have power. Some people still are affected by flooding in Florida. So I think South Florida will be a great location for us to have a chapter there, whether it's the Tampa, whether it's Miami. I don't know where the bulk of y'all are at. We have people in both places, but if you're in Houston, wow, if you're in Miami, or Tampa area, we would love to have a chapter launch in both areas. They're on opposite sides of the peninsula. So, you'll be able to grab people either way. But we have a KHM Orlando chapter as well. We have to reinvigorate it so that way it's active again. It's been dormant for some time. But we also want to do Tampa and we want to do Florida. Now, being that it's approaching the winter time, we would prefer to be in a warm location if we do a winter chapter launch. So if we have time, maybe in December, we may do a Miami chapter launch because we do have people in Miami and Tampa. I'm not sure, I think Tampa should be fine by the time December rolls around. But we'll look and see, right? We'll see how things go. If it necessitates us being out there at that time, but we do want to have one in that region. So in the event that you guys get, I'm not going to say obliterated because the state is still there, right? City's still there, but to be damaged in that format, right? Where if we have some of our services out there, they can help alleviate some of that and help our people that's out there in those communities who are not getting help or assistance. And a lot of y'all don't even have insurance. You know what I'm saying? Which is horrible. It's horrifying to know that. But again, if anybody who's out there needs any financial support or any aid outside of financial support, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com so that we can assist you because we're a ministry. We're here to serve. And I got to do all the time. When these cameras go off, this ministry don't end. I know a lot of people say, oh, when the camera goes off, I go back to my regular life. I go back to, see, those more rays, they come on here and they do what they do. And then once they turn their camera off, they don't want to be bothered with y'all ninjas, man. They say, oh, I'm not going to deal with these ninjas. No, this is the sheep of Yah. If you are a shepherd and Yah put you in a position of leadership, that leadership should extend when the camera goes off. And there's so many leaders that just YouTube more rays. We're not YouTube more rays here. We're in the thicket with the people. And like I said, what we did during COVID is unmatched. We went into the cities firsthand and saw everything going on with COVID, and we was moving, we was active. It didn't stop the show. We slowed down in 2022, 2023. We picked the momentum back up in 2024. Now in 2025, the momentum needs to be up here because we're right here right now. We need to drive it all the way up here. And the chapter launches is the best way that we're able to accomplish this. When we're right there, boots to the ground, in the nitty gritty with the people, seeing what's going on in your city, getting an assessment for the morale of our people there, and trying to provide assistance and aid so we can turn the people's hearts back unto Yah. All right. Okay. So with that being said, I really don't have much else to say. If y'all are interested in asking any questions, you can do so now. We have about maybe 10 more minutes before I end the live. That mean for it to be too long. But again, this is part of our Houston chapter launch promotion. So I just want to let you guys know that we're here to help. We're here to aid. Please, if you're in Houston, come through, because it's going to be beneficial to you. We're going to have some life-altering things being shared. You're going to have a great time with our fellowship, free food, and then it's going to be a free lecture, right? So again, you can't beat free. If you're in the Houston area, you cannot beat free, all right? And we do this because we love you guys, right? We're gonna actually shoulder the tab and take care of everything for you guys, so that way you can be comfortable and enjoy the show, all right? Okay. Thank you for that, Sister Rivera. we're here to help. If anybody needs any other assistance, let us know. I mean, during COVID, I think we raised about five to $6,000 that we gave out to people and helped them during that time of COVID. Again, if anybody needs aid or assistance in Florida, let us know. We'll raise whatever we have to raise to share it with you. I'm just going to start a GoFundMe, but I don't even know. A lot of people who reach out to said that they're okay, but we can create another one again, depending on how much aid and assistance is still needed out there in South Florida. Okay. All right. So, yeah. So, shout out to Tony Yaya Sharala Shalom King. What's going on? Okay. So, being wise, I could do that. I could do that on Sunday, next Sunday, if you want. I don't know. We got to see if people want that. You know what I'm saying? If they do, we could do that. Mr. Jeshua 144, let me see if I can answer those questions real quick. Again, I got limited time, so let me see how quick I can answer those questions. Let me see. Any sources about the biblical Hebrew being a language used only to study the Tanakh as opposed to being the common language? Okay, so we have literary Hebrew and we have colloquial Hebrew. So literary Hebrew is what's used to write the text. Okay, text is a piece of literature. So the type of Hebrew used in that text is going to be different from everyday vernacular, right? Which is your colloquial Hebrew, right? Colloquial Hebrew ceased when the Israelites went into Babylonian captivity. When they came out of captivity, their primary language for those subsequent generations was Aramaic. They did have Hebrew as a liturgical language, and also use it for names and stuff like that, but they were not as fluent in the Hebrew language at that time, the colloquial Hebrew language, but they did know it from the literary Hebrew language that was being used for their texts and for their doxologies and stuff like that, right? So if you want to know about the Hebrew language as a language, a spoken language, right? I definitely have great resources on that. Same thing as biblical Hebrew. Again, I know biblical Hebrew. I don't know modern Hebrew. There's a lot of similarities, but there are some differences. So I would have to take courses to learn modern Hebrew, which I don't mind doing. The same thing with modern Aramaic, which I'm in the process of learning. It takes some time to get these languages learned and intact. But biblical Hebrew and biblical Aramaic, I'm aware of, and I utilize that when we do our studies and so forth, right? But common Hebrew or colloquial Hebrew that was spoken at that time, we have some of that in like letters. Like we have the Telerod letters, we have the Lachish letters, and these letters, these individuals writing spoke more colloquially than you find in literary Hebrew. So you can kind of see how that vernacular is by studying those letters. And then also, a lot of administrative stuff like the Shalom 10 inscription, stuff like that. That's more administrative, which is kind of similar to biblical Hebrew, but there are some differences, right? But I would say the best way is to read those letters. Also, we have letters as well in the Elephantine Papyri. So if you read the Elephant, again, if you have the Patreon, you can look all of this stuff up. We have all these resources on Patreon. But in the Elephantine Papyri, they have a bunch of letters. If you look at the Al Yehudu tablets, those are letters. This is all colloquial Hebrew that was being used at that time, right? So you want to research and look into that. And again, the colloquial Hebrew started dying off around the time they went into Babylonian captivity. The elders coming out of captivity, who was in there for 70 years plus, they still spoke Hebrew fluently, but the second and third generation that came up in Babylon, they're not speaking biblical Hebrew, or excuse me, colloquial Hebrew at that time, right? They wasn't speaking that. So that's very important to understand. So hopefully that addresses your question. Let me jump to something else real quick. Let me go to this question here. Can you give some insight into Micah 5:2 in regard to being used as a pre-existing text? Yes, let me address that real quick. Micah 5:2. Let's see. Yeah, I've addressed this before, and this is a bad text to use if somebody's trying to prove pre-existence. And I had several debates on this. I think the last one I had an official debate. I guess it's official debate, which with Jada Smoke. That preview is out on YouTube, so you can check that out. But people try to use this. Oh, this is Jesus Christ pre-existent because of what Matthew chapter 2 says, right? So first thing I'm gonna do is let's go to Matthew chapter 2. And then I'm going to go to Micah 5 and 2. Okay. So let's deal with this real quick. And just so you know, one of the tenets of subscription for the KHM educational side is that we don't subscribe to the virgin birth, and we don't subscribe to the pre-existence of quote unquote Jesus Christ, right? Or Yeshua ben Yosef, right? Or Bar Yosef, which would have been more exact because they would have been speaking a dialect of Aramaic in the 1st century CE as their colloquial tongue, right? All right, so Matthew chapter 2. Let me share my screen real quick. Again, we still open. We have a vacancy for what we're going to lecture on. If there's something in particular that y'all want me to lecture on, please send me your suggestions via email, kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, or you can drop it in the comments below. We will take a look at it and make a decision from there. All right. Otherwise, I'll just bring something by default. All right. So Matthew chapter 2. Verse 1 says, now after Yeshua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him. Again, this type of worship, you know what? I may do a lecture on worship. Because some people say, oh, Jesus was worshipped as Yahweh. No, he was not. And when you see worship attached to Yeshua in the text, it's a specific word. But that's another conversation altogether. I don't know if y'all want me to do a lecture on that, I could do that. Or if you want me to do on something else, just let me know. So it says, when Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him, and assembling all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. Verse 5, they told him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for so it is written by the prophet, and you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel. Now, let's take a look at something. Let's go to Micah chapter 5 and verse 1. Okay. And again, we deal with the New Testament quotations of the Old Testament, what we call qualitative attribution, right? Qualitative attribution, right? And that is necessary so you do not break the scriptures, like Yeshua says in John chapter 10. Scriptures cannot be broken, but people attempt to break it all the time. So it says, now muster your troops, O daughter of troops. Siege is laid against us. With the rod they strike the judge of Israel on the cheek. But you, O Bethlehem Ephratah, who are too little to be among the clans of Judah, from you shall come forth for me one who is to be ruler in Israel. Whose coming forth is from ancient days. It was right there. Look, that's Jesus. First of all, there's an immediate context of Micah chapter 5, which the immediate context is not referring to Jesus at all. That's number one. Number two, we see here, right? But you, O Bethlehem Ephratah, who are too little to be among the clans of Judah, from you shall come forth for me one who is to be ruler in Israel. This is all Matthew quotes. Matthew doesn't even quote this remaining part. So for somebody to look at it just on the surface, the remaining part and say refers to Jesus, where are you getting that information from? Matthew chapter 2 doesn't even quote that portion. That's the first disqualification right there. Don't even mention it. The second disqualification is that if you want to force it, this is not talking about what you think. This is not saying that who this ruler is somebody that was in a pre-existing state before they incarnated and came to the earth. This is not what this is talking about. Okay? Because pre-existence does not exist in Tanakh. Pre-existence does not exist in Tanakh. It's not there. So if pre-existence does not exist in Tanakh, then what is this referring to when it says who's coming forth is from from ancient days? These are things that are prophesied. And if we go and parse out the Hebrew, which I'll do probably another time, we'll see that. But here's the thing. When you're looking at Matthew chapter 2, it is actually syntax in two scriptures together. syntax in two scriptures, meaning that part from old to everlasting was not intended by the author of Matthew, because he didn't even add that. This portion right here, who will shepherd my people, that's not in Micah chapter 5, verse 2. And Matthew and Micah chapter 5, there's a whole immediate historical context. But let me show you the other portion of it, right? The other portion of it, so we get Micah chapter 5, verse 2, and the other portion of it is going to be, you can say First Chronicles, and though Judah prevailed over him, his brothers, and a ruler came from him, the birthright belonged to Joseph. But also we have it here in the book of First Samuel. Let me get it for y'all. Let me pull it up for y'all real quick. Let's see if we can pull it up real quick. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 2. It says, what's that? Verse 1. Then all the tribes of Israel came to David at Hebron and said, behold, we are your bone and flesh. In times past, when Saul was king over us, it was you who led out and brought in Israel. And Yah said to you, you shall be shepherd of my people Israel, and you shall be prince over Israel. This portion right here, you shall be shepherd of my people Israel. 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 2. And we can tie it back here when Yah has done for my Lord all the good he promised, and he has appointed you over as ruler over Israel. So this idea is First Chronicles 11 and 2 right here as well. The idea is we see that this idea of a shepherd comes from this kingly lineage, right? So the idea of a shepherd comes from king lineage, and Bethlehem being in a region or an area is referring to, again, a king that's coming forth to bring about prophecy. So what the New Testament does is that it takes one portion from over here, another portion from over here, it syntaxes it together, because again, in those times there was different manuscripts in first century CE that they have access to that we no longer have access today, because the majority of the, what we say, Old Testament Tanakh that we have comes from the Masoretic text, represented at best by the Leningrad and Aleppo codices. The first century Hebrew text that they had, we no longer have. This could represent an older version of the text that we no longer have today. And it could be referring to that from Micah chapter 5, verse 2, or it may be somewhere else, right? However, the New Testament never goes to the part where it says whose goings forth is from old, from everlasting. That's not there in Matthew chapter 2. So if somebody tries to force that to say it's referring to pre-existence, first let them know that it's not quoted in Matthew chapter 2. And then second, let them know that this is referring to something in its historical context, and the idea of pre-existence of any ruler did not exist in the Tanakh at all, right? So that's just addressing it real briefly, real quickly for y'all. Again, something very simple to address, but hopefully it gives some insight in regards to that. Let me see. A lecture on worship or prayer. Okay. Like Ben Wise says, I did an actual live stream where I touched on prayer some. That was the one that I did using Nehemiah chapter 1, which I always use as a staple to showcase how to pray. I guess I could do that, but like worship and prayer is gonna be part of a much larger lecture that I'm gonna do going forward. So I might not actually do that next Sunday. So because I already have something in store for that, and I don't want to do that prematurely and kind of interfere with the lecture that I am working on that incorporates that. But if it's something else that you have outside of that, just let me know, right? Yeah, all praise to the Most High. So in that actual lecture, I didn't get a chance to go into all the details, but just so you know, the concept that destroys pre-existence is the concept of the first Adam and the last Adam. And that was what I was putting forth in that debate with Jada Smoke, because there's tons of angles I could attack this on, right? But I think that if you anchor it down to the first and last Adam and how that juxtaposition shows up in Paul's writings, but that concept comes prior to Paul. Matter of fact, let me show you what I'm talking about. Again, sign up for the Patreon, www.patreon.com/DivineProspect, because we have resources on that. Let me show you one of the resources that you want to read in regards to what it is that I'm saying, so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm leading on to, right? Let me go ahead and get that real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up this resource again on the Patreon. You can read it for yourself. Let's bring it up real quick. Let me look for it. Let me find it. Because we have tons of books on there. Where is it at? So Epigrapher and the Orange Christian Origins. There it is. Let me show it to y'all. This is a excellent read. All right, so the name of the book is called The Son of Man as the Last Adam, the Early Church Tradition as a Source of Paul's Adam Christology. This is extremely important, because once you understand the Son of Man as the last Adam, now, man, that concept Son of Man also comes from the Dead Sea Scrolls, the extra biblical Dead Sea Scrolls, and the Yahad community. They subscribe to this idea of the Son of Man, and they predated Yeshua and his disciples and later on apostles. So that concept of the Son of Man also goes back from the book of Enoch, which, again, I have sources on here that discusses that. Once you understand that concept of the Son of Man, if you're the Son of Man, it eliminates this idea of preexistence. Because Son of Man means you're not just a man, that you're beginning forth. Your beginning in origin is from a man. I'm going to pause right there. Maybe you want me to do a lecture on that. I could do that on Sunday, next Sunday, but I'm going to pause on that. I'm going to say it again. If you're a son of man, like Ezekiel was, like what Enoch prophesies about, like what the Yahad community subscribed to, you are mortal. You didn't have a pre-existence. Your immortality must be provided to you. When you see the book of Daniel, another example of the Son of Man concept, he was given something. He was the recipient of something. He didn't have it prior. Hey, there's some heavy stuff. And if you want to do the reading on this, sign up for the Patreon. I got about 5 books on the Son of Man concept. 5 books on them. Excellent reads. And again, when you get these books, you may not have time to read everything. Just go to the table of contents and hone in specifically to the content that you want to absorb, which is going to be about 10, 15 pages, and get what you need from it. All right. I mean, I don't know. Y'all got to let me know what you want me to lecture on. Look, if I'm not getting no feedback, I'm just going to choose anything. But I want to cater to the things that y'all are interested in, right? So you got to let me know. All right, let me answer this last question, and I'm going to go lecture on the virgin birth. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Again, drop it in the comments or email us so I have a record of it. Hey, Divine, do you believe in the future return of Yeshua? I keep hearing about this AD 70 stuff. These preterists are running around wild with this doctrine. Yes, preterists died off the strength of patriarchal or church father references. They can't make out that. If you have 1st century, 2nd century church fathers that do not acknowledge that everything was fulfilled, then you have a problem. That's one of many issues that they have with this preterist doctrine. Do I believe in futurism, which means there is a coming Messiah in the future that's going to fulfill all things mentioned in scripture that was not fulfilled in 70 AD? Yes, I do. I would say the best candidate that's proposed for that, based on the evidence we have from the New Testament and what we can look from the Qumran community, would be Yeshua. He'd be the best candidate for that. But even Yeshua refers to the second coming as an individual called the Son of Man. So whether he's prophesying about something else or somebody else coming, or whether it's him himself, from his own words, he always calls it the Son of Man. You will see the Son of Man coming, but you will see the Son of Man. You will see the Son of Man. So is that Son of Man actually him or somebody else coming in the name of Yah? Whoever it is, they still have yet to come. When it's mention of clouds, like we see in Daniel, what's that, chapter 7, it's referring to divine protection and divine sanctity. Very important. Very important. Very important. Okay. All right. So I see some questions. Y'all got some stuff. Shalom Maurice. I see y'all have some stuff. Okay, cool. You gotta leave it in the comments below. Leave it in the comments below. This is only for you, Houston. The only way you can get this if you're physically there for it, or you sign up for the Patreon, so you can get the resources behind the lecture. All right, and if you're on the Patreon, if I create a PowerPoint, you'll have access to that as well. Tons of benefits of signing up for the Patreon. All right. So with that being said, family, thank y'all for watching. I appreciate y'all. Houston, we will be there on October 26th on the Shabbat. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then the following day on that Sunday, we're going to work on a lecture specifically for you guys and your requests out there. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. All right. With that being said, family, I love you. Thank you for watching. And I'll see y'all in Houston. All right. Peace and shalom.